Hey everyone, Brendan Sander here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to a special review for the brand new YouTube box set, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. This is for their 11th studio album, which originally came out in 2004. So now celebrating a 20th anniversary. It's been expanded into a 5 CD box set. But the cool thing is it features the Shadow album, How to Reassemble an Atomic Bomb. It's got 10, 5 of them are unreleased, but 10 tracks, rare songs on here, creating an alternate listening experience for the band. And just released on November 22nd of 2024. I'm going to do a full review, unboxing, breakdown of the whole thing here, and we'll get into it in just a bit. But if you are new to my channel and haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things do help support my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, if you turn on notification, you'll never miss an episode and stay up to date on really cool things just like this. We're talking about the brand new YouTube box set, How to Disassemble an Atomic Bomb. So I want to jump back a bit here and do a little bit of history here just to catch everyone up, set the tone for what we're going to talk about here on this 11th studio album. So the Irish rock band formed back in 1976, and hard to believe that it's only 2 years away from them being around for 50 years. And we still have the same 4 original guys who recorded the debut album Boy in 1980. And while they did have a little bit of success on that album there, it would be their 3rd studio album, War, that came out in 1983, that the band finally would break through and have some real success on. But ultimately, 1987's Joshua Tree is where the band broke through into mega stardom. This album has gone on to sell 25 million copies around the world, which always kind of boggles my mind. I mean, I always know the band is big, but when I go back and look at some of these sales figures, it's just staggering as to what the band has achieved worldwide. And so following Joshua Tree and then the album Rattle and Hum, the band basically felt a little stagnant and they needed to reinvent themselves, try something different. They went in a much more experimental direction for their 1991 album, Achtung, Baby. And this could have been, the death knell for the band itself, but ultimately catapulted them into the stratosphere. And so at this point, this album goes on to sell 18 million copies, having mega hits on it. The band is playing stadiums everywhere, and they're just at the top of their game. And they would continue that out for the rest of the 90s itself, staying in that experimental sound, basically taking it as far as it could possibly go for them. And by the year 2000, they had decided basically to make a return to their classic sound with All That You Can't Leave Behind in 2000. And this one here would essentially reestablish them again, going on to sell 12 million copies worldwide. And so here we are with the album we want to talk about, album number 11, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. And for this one here, they stay with that classic sound, but they lean more into the rock element of things, keeping a little bit of experimentation in on it here. And for this album, it would go on to sell 10 million copies, so continuing that string of success that the band had. There was a lot of hits off of this stuff, producing a number of standout songs, Vertigo, Miracle Drug, Sometimes You Can't Make It on Your Own, City of Blinding Lights, and All Because of You. But basically every song on this album was a standout song. I love it from start to finish. It's a fantastic album. It would win the band 8 Grammy Awards. And now here we are 20 years on, taking a look at an anniversary of the album with this cool box set that we're going to talk about. So now let's break into this and get going with it. So the version that I'm holding up, at least, is the 5 CD edition of it. You can see that it's a slipcase style where everything is going to slide out like that. So it's not a, say, clamshell or lift top style box. And I haven't really decided if this is supposed to be the front because we have the spine here, or sometimes they consider this the front because we have that. And the reason I question that is the way that they wrap the paper sleeve onto this thing and glue it, where it makes it look like this is actually meant to be the front. But they had hype stickers on both sides of this that were very different. So I guess you could pick and choose whichever one it is that you think is supposed to be the front and want to display. But I've always associated this with the album cover, so that will be my front way to face it. Plus, I like having a real spine out when I put all my box sets together as opposed to this. But this here, a 5 CD edition of it. There's also an 8 LP edition of the box set, so you can get it if you're a vinyl fan. There's a single CD remaster of the album, but interestingly, there is no 2-disc edition of this like there has been on previous box sets for Achtung Baby, All That You Can't Leave Behind, probably even Joshua Tree had one. But of those box sets, we got 2-disc editions. And so not for this one. And part of the reason I think that to be the case is they wanted you to have to shell out to buy this, but they didn't want to put the Shadow album, the How to Reassemble an Atomic Bomb, as part of that, I guess, making you buy this. But I would have been happy if they had just done a selections of, because we get a bunch more stuff inside this. I'll get into that in just a second. Let's go ahead and start looking at this, and then I'm going to talk about each of the discs as we go through it. But as I already showed you, it just slides out from here. And so I will go ahead and slide the stuff out, and I'm going to pull this part out. And one of the things you're going to notice right off the back is this part of it did not come out. This piece here is so tightly wedged in that it doesn't come out on its own. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But the CDs themselves come in this oversized cardboard CD case, if you will. And I'm going to open it up, and it's basically, if you just imagine a standardized CD one, this kind of does the same thing. We've got one disc there, then we open this up, and we get 4 more. So you get all 5 of your discs like that. Maybe I can do this. And then you've got this part here, and behind this is a CD booklet. It's the size of a vinyl, though. Look at that thing. So let me show you this booklet while we've got this out. So first of all, it's just enormous. It's just a little too big. On this kind of paper, it bothers me when it's this big because it's a little too big to operate properly, at least like this, holding it up in any particular way. You have to lay it flat. But basically, it's just the lyrics inside here. So I'm not even gonna really thumb through the whole thing. You get the lyrics for the first album, you get the lyrics for the Shadow album in here, and then you get a bit of a breakdown on the information that is for the next series of discs, which is Remix and Live, that's in here. And so you get that sort of stuff on these pages there and there. So I will get into that in just a bit more, but I wanted to show you how this is, and the fact that the discs themselves do not come in individual sleeves. They're in here. So this first one over here is the album itself remastered, but the Shadow album right here. And I wish it was in its own sleeve. I wish that one could be taken out of this thing and kept separately, but I've got to open the box set every time to get to it, and that is a little bit of a bummer. Now, disc 1 in here is, of course, the original album. It's been remastered, so a brand new remastering on it, and it does have one bonus track on it. It has the B-side to Fast Cars. And the second album that's in here is the one that everyone's talking about. It's what U2 is calling the Shadow album. And that is How to Reassemble an Atomic Bomb. It's got those 10 tracks from the sessions, 5 of them previously unreleased, but you add up the whole thing together, and with 10 songs, for most of us, that feels like a brand new album. And of course, in the style of the classic album, How to Assemble an Atomic, or How to Disassemble an Atomic Bomb, you feel like you're getting a brand new album. Now, this first song that's on the disc is called Pictures of You, which is essentially a slightly different version of the song Fast Cars. And so if you're listening to this digitally, where the album itself ends with Fast Cars, and then this Shadow album starts up with Pictures of You, you're basically listening to the same song twice, and that kind of bums me out. But in terms of a CD or an LP, it is separated for you, at least like that. On the Shadow album, you also get All Because of You 2, so a second version of that. It is somewhat different. And then you get Theme from Batman, which is about a 2-minute instrumental track. It's very cool, but it is just a little instrumental track that's on there. So if you pull those 3 off of it, you're basically getting 7 really strong songs that are new for most people on here. And I would say that the songs that are on the Shadow album itself really lean in the more experimental direction than the album proper. And so it sort of seems like that's where they left on the cutting room floor, those sort of songs. They explored that stuff. As a whole, though, there's a number of tracks on the album itself that sounds like they could have been hits. I think had they been put on the main proper album, they would have been easily. Luckiest Man in the World and Country Mile. Country Mile was released as a single in the lead up to this. You might have already heard it. But I think both of those songs are as strong as anything on the main album and easily would have been hits on their own. But the whole album itself, while maybe a little underproduced, probably needed to go through another round of recording to finely tune everything up, polish up the edges, that sort of stuff. So I hear the album itself as a little bit rawer than the main proper album. It's still an absolute fantastic album and definitely worth checking out. I think this box set in and of itself is simply worth it just for the Shadow album that's in here. But now we also get 3 more CDs as part of this. And so you get 11 remixes on disc 3. The remixes, though, are grouped in a way that they're the same track that repeats. So like Vertigo, that kicks it off, has 3 versions in a row, and then you move on to other songs, and so you get 2 or 3 of the same song in a row, different remixes, but the same song. And for me, that gets a bit repetitious. I don't really like it when bands do that. I prefer if they would actually separate, move them around, so that I'm not just listening to the same thing over and over. And then disc 4 and 5 is Live in Chicago 2005. It's taken from the original DVD release. So if you have that, you know what this is. It is an absolutely fantastic show. It's great quality, totally worth having. The only bummer is they didn't include the DVD in this package or put out a Blu-ray version of it in this package, so we're only getting the audio. But I will say this, at least they're not duplicating anything in this box. All the stuff you're getting, whether it be the remastered version, which is brand new, or you're getting audio from a DVD, it's all new stuff. It hasn't been duplicated in other packages, so that's a nice thing. As part of this, so I showed you the CD part. I will go ahead and show you this part. This was the piece that was hard to come out, and what was bothering me is that this is so tight. It really needed to be cut down a little bit on it. It's already denting in a bit because it's too big for it. So I might have to figure out how to, you can kind of see it, maybe see it. I don't know if you can see it there, bent over a little bit. See if I can cut it down on my own. But it comes with prints. And if I understand it correctly, it's art that the band did, that the guys did. So we have this first piece, which I don't see anyone's signature on this one, although, nope, take it back. I think that says Larry at the bottom. We have a number of them, though, from Bono and the Edge. So you can see right there with his signature. Nothing on the back sides of these, as they are just art prints. I like this one here. And I don't know if these were done at the time or if these were done now just for the box set, but very cool little pieces of art kind of thing, almost frameable pieces of stuff that I could see having up if you're a big fan of the band itself. So interesting, you get 8 of these in here. So those are part of this, and then kind of the meat and potatoes of the stuff, you get the book that comes with this. U2, there you go, a visual blast by Anton Corbijn, their designated photographer. It is a hardcover, which is very nice. Right on the front of this, I will show you the 2 hype stickers that were on this. So this is one of them, and a round one, and then they had a rectangular one. So one on each side. They each actually say slightly different things on it, which is what's interesting. inside photo or page doesn't really show you much. So this just really shows you a bunch of alternative shots and ways that they were thinking about the album cover and photos that could be part of it. This one was interesting because it's called Four Guys at a Table, where they're supposed to be trying to think of a plan on how to disassemble an atomic bomb, right? So there's a series of that, and they just go through. It's not a very long book, and it doesn't actually have any of the art from the final album cover in here. At least I don't think it does. I could be wrong. I didn't do any real comparison, but these are earlier sessions, and there's a little bits of write-up from Anton in here about what he was thinking during the process, or what the band was trying to achieve in a shot. But all in all, it just goes through a bunch of cool shots. There's no history of the band in here. So this is not a book that actually talks about how the album was recorded or why something is the way that it is. And I have to say, out of all the stuff that's in here and with this, that's one of the biggest things that I'm missing. So I talked about how there's no DVD. So there's no DVD Blu-ray in here. No Blu-ray for, say, high-res audio. No Blu-ray for videos from the album itself. No DVD Blu-ray for either the live performance live in Chicago 2005, the book itself, or the CD booklet. Neither of those have a history of this, or what was going on, or behind the scenes recording, or any sort of interview with the band. So they're missing that aspect of stuff. And the one other thing that I feel like is really missing from this is a full album collection of demos for the songs that appeared on the album. Like Achtung Baby, there's an album called Kindergarten, and those are the demos from it, which was very cool to hear early versions of. I would have liked that for this album as well. We don't get it here. So those are the kind of things that I feel are missing. In the end of the day, though, I still feel what they chose to put in here is very worthwhile. I just feel like there's so much more that they could have done, they could have included, and maybe they're saving that for the 30th anniversary or the 35th anniversary. Who knows? I'm sure we will see all of that stuff at some point down the road, but just not right now as part of this 5 CD or 8 LP box set. So bottom line on this, the 2004 album itself, I think, was a full-on classic. It's celebrating a 20th anniversary with this great box set. A bit more obviously could have been done with it, could have been made a little bit more comprehensive overall, but I still think that it is totally worthwhile for people, both in terms of the value of it and in terms of the content that is in it. The fact that it has the Shadow album, How to Reassemble an Atomic Bomb, in here makes this box set, in my opinion, more worthwhile than album or box sets for like Achtung Baby, All That You Can't Leave Behind, because there's a concise version of something within here that so far is only available through the box set. I do hope they release it standalone eventually, but right now the only way to get that album is part of this. Although RSD, Record Store Day, that is in 1 week from the release of this, so on November 29th, RSD will release on vinyl the How to Reassemble an Atomic Bomb standalone album. It's going to be the only way to get it as a standalone album, at least right now. But because they're doing that, it makes me think that somewhere down the road we will get a full version of that. But all in all, right now, getting that album, getting the live, getting the remixes, and a remastering of the album, I think the box set is totally worth it for U2 fans. And the value of it, right now on Amazon, it's $110. I think it's a great value for the content and everything that's in it. So certainly if you're a fan, go check this out, see what you think, but I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with those 10 songs on the Shadow album, making this a very worthwhile investment. And there you go. That is the How to Disassemble an Atomic Bomb 20th anniversary box set. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this breakdown of everything here and the content and stuff and what's inside it. Let me know your thoughts on it if you're choosing to pick it up or not. And hopefully we can all enjoy just a little bit more U2 with this until they drop a brand new album, which let's hope will be in 2025. All right, everyone, take care, have a good one, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.